I feel like I'm losing my mind sometimes. Every single time I bring up a concern to my husband, it turns into a game of, you did it too. After 10 years together, I'm exhausted from the constant back and forth, and I can't tell if I'm overreacting or this is just the way it's going to be forever. I've been with my husband for a decade. We've built a life together, and in many ways, things are good. But there's this recurring pattern that has slowly been wearing me down. Whenever I bring up something that bothers me, anything from housework I wish he'd do, to spending too much time on his phone, to days when he doesn't seem to do much at all, it always ends the same way. Instead of listening, he immediately counters with, well, you've been doing the same thing. Apparently, I'm always at fault, just in a different way. And he just didn't want to argue about it until now. At first, I tried to shrug it off. I thought maybe he was just joking or trying to lighten the mood. But over the years, it became clear that this is a standard way of responding. Any time I express concern, it becomes tit for tat. There's no real discussion or solution, just pointing fingers back and forth. I've tried changing my approach. I've tried being calm, direct, even gently humorous. Nothing seems to work. I bring up something that matters to me, and within seconds, I'm being reminded of all the ways I supposedly do the same thing. It's exhausting. It makes me feel like my feelings don't matter. Sometimes it's small things, like forgetting to take out the trash or leaving dishes in the sink. Other times, it's bigger, like him disappearing into his phone for hours when I hope we could spend time together. And yet, the response is always the same. You do it too. It doesn't matter what the issue is. The pattern is consistent. I've tried asking him to just listen, to hear me out before comparing, but it rarely changes anything. And the longer this goes on, the more resentful I feel. I start doubting myself. Am I being too sensitive? Is it really that big of a deal, or am I imagining frustration? The thing that really gets me is how this pattern has embedded itself into our relationship over a decade. 10 years of arguing in circles. 10 years of never really resolving conflict, because it always turns into a blame game. It's not just annoying, it's affecting how I feel about our partnership. Sometimes I catch myself avoiding bringing up concerns altogether. I bottle things up instead, just to avoid the inevitable response. But then, everything I've been holding in comes out later, usually when I'm exhausted or emotional, and it blows up bigger than it should have. I feel like we're trapped in this endless loop where no one truly listens, and no one really wins. And yet, I love him. I want this to work. But every day it feels like my feelings are minimized, and I'm stuck in a cycle of being both the complainer and the accused. I can't keep living like this, feeling like I'm crazy for wanting communication or consideration. What I've realized is that this isn't just about housework or phone time. It's about how we handle conflict and emotional communication. Relationships aren't just about sharing space or responsibilities. They're about being heard, validated, and respected. I'm learning that I need to set boundaries and express my needs in a way that doesn't get derailed by this automatic comparison. Maybe that means couples therapy, or maybe it means having a calm conversation where I explicitly state that this pattern is hurting me. The goal isn't to win an argument. It's to build a space where both of us feel understood. The lesson here is that patterns, even small ones, can silently erode a relationship over time. Communication is more than talking. It's about listening, validating, and taking action together. I'm hoping that by recognizing the cycle, I can break it before it causes more damage. After 10 years, I still believe in us. But I've learned that love alone isn't enough. Respect and healthy communication are just as critical. I'm taking small steps to speak up, stay calm, and seek solutions that actually work, not just arguments that go in circles. And maybe, just maybe, breaking this cycle will be the start of a stronger, healthier relationship. I want to share something personal. Something I never thought I'd admit out loud. I'm 29. My wife is 29 too, and we've been married for a few months, though we've been together for several years. Lately, our relationship has been tested in ways I didn't anticipate. My wife has been struggling with depression. She doesn't have many friends left, and honestly, I'm the only person she talks to. She shares everything with me. The frustrations, the sadness, the lonely moments. And I love her, so I want to be there. But over time, it's been taking a toll. I often cancel plans of my own friends because she's had a rough day, and the thought of leaving her alone at home just breaks my heart. She works in a high-stress hospital job, attending to patients, managing complaints, and constantly giving emotional support. For someone who's naturally introverted, the demands of her job leave her completely drained. When she comes home, she shuts down. She doesn't want to go out, see people, or engage in anything that isn't lying on the couch. Sometimes smoking weed just to cope. Her depression isn't new, but it's worsened recently, especially with the stress from work. She's also the sole emotional support for her mother, which adds another layer of responsibility. Most of her friends have drifted away, and while she connects well when we're with my friends and their spouses, she refuses to reach out on her own. Her reasoning: they're your friends, not mine, so it doesn't count. I understand her. I understand the exhaustion that comes from giving so much to others all day and the desire to just retreat and recharge. We're planning to start a family soon, and I love her deeply. I try to be patient, empathetic, and supportive with everything I can give. But there are days when I'm not perfect. Days when I feel drained, impatient, or emotionally spent. On those days, I see the pain in her eyes, and it breaks me inside. I worry constantly that I might run out of strength, that I might fail her when she needs me most. I've suggested therapy, gently, but it's a sensitive subject. She's been through years of therapy before and doesn't want to relive those experiences with someone new. And so, most of the burden falls on me. I try to embrace it because, honestly, I love staying with her. But even love has limits when it's unbalanced, when one person carries almost everything alone. I'm sharing this because I think many people in relationships might feel the same. Supporting someone you love through depression is rewarding but exhausting, and it can put serious pressure on your relationship when one person feels like the only safety net for both emotional and social needs. The truth is, I don't have all the answers. I just know that love alone isn't always enough, and that sometimes seeking help, together or individually, might be the only way to protect a relationship from breaking under the weight of invisible burdens. And maybe, by sharing this, someone else can feel less alone in their struggles. Sometimes, after she falls asleep, I sit quietly in the living room, reflecting. I remind myself that love is about persistence, patience, and sometimes knowing when to ask for help. And I hope that one day we'll both feel lighter together. What would you do if you suddenly had more money than you ever expected, but couldn't tell a single person about it? Not your friends, not your partner, no one. I'm 23 years old. Last year, my life changed in a way I never planned for. I was hit by a truck that ran a red light. The recovery was long, painful, and overwhelming, but eventually it led to a legal settlement. After medical bills, legal fees, and buying myself a reliable car outright, I had a little over $600,000 left. I didn't panic. I didn't go on a spending spree. I hired a financial advisor and invested it. A few months later, that money had already grown. Right now, I'm not clear to return to work yet. So each month, I only take what I need, about $2,000, for rent and basic living expenses. That's it. No luxury lifestyle. No sudden upgrades. I'm planning to go back to work this year, and honestly, I'm comfortable living like nothing changed. Here's the part that surprised me most. The hardest thing hasn't been managing the money. It's managing the silence. No one in my life knows about it. Not my boyfriend. Not my closest friends. They all think I'm just getting by on savings from before the accident. And that secrecy, it wasn't my idea. My lawyer sat me down and gave me advice I didn't expect. Don't tell anyone. He told me story after story. Clients who trusted the wrong people, relationships that changed overnight, money that slowly disappeared through guilt, pressure, and emotional manipulation. And suddenly I understood something unsettling. Money doesn't just give you freedom. It reveals people. So now I live with this strange double life. Financially secure, but emotionally guarded. I love my boyfriend. I trust my friends. But I've also seen how quickly expectations change when money enters the picture. And that makes me wonder how much of who we are to others is tied to what we can provide. I've done the responsible things. Invested, planned, protected my future. But I still ask myself questions I never thought I'd have at this age. Am I wrong for keeping this secret? Is privacy selfish, or is it necessary? Beyond growing the money, how do you actually enjoy it without letting it change you? For now, I booked something simple. My first cruise ever with my boyfriend. Not because it's extravagant, but because it feels human. Because surviving something traumatic doesn't mean you owe the world your reward. Sometimes, financial security isn't about how much you have, but how well you protect your peace while having it. If you were in my place, would you tell the people you love? Or would you do exactly what I did and keep quiet